A little over 5 years ago, Porsche entered the always competitive electric vehicle space with the sports car-like Taycan back in 2019. Now, in that time frame, the Taycan has become one of Porsche's best-selling models, even coming close to the sales figures of the coveted 911 Carrera. Now, for 2025, we are finally seeing Porsche give the Taycan family some pretty big changes, and they are significant. We're talking about an all-new rear electric motor with more power across the board, 2 all-new battery packs with better efficiency and better range, and some light styling details that you're going to notice on the outside, along with a tech upgrade on the inside. So today we're actually out here in beautiful Sevilla, Spain, to finally take a look at this Taycan, which this one that I'm showing here is the 4S, kind of the mid-trim. And the big question I want answered, has Porsche made enough changes to the fabulous Taycan electric sports sedan to keep this model fresh? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling changes, which they are pretty minor, you'd have to park it next to the old Taycan to truly see the differences. I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's underneath here. Now, because this vehicle is built off of a dedicated EV architecture, the Taycan offers a frunk, and it's a relatively good-sized one. Now, underneath the hood, Porsche says there's around 2.9 cubic feet of storage underneath here. You can see it's also nicely sealed off. It's carpeted. It has an LED light in there. And this is a very usable space, especially if you want to put the mobile charger or just something that you don't want flying around in the cabin or in the rear trunk. But since we're underneath here, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain specs of this model. This is the 4S. It's one notch above the base version of the Taycan. It's got a brand new rear electric motor. The 4 means that it is all-wheel drive, so it adds a second electric motor at the front. And then, of course, the S means it's one notch again above the base, and power figures are up significantly. So with the dual electric motors, the brand new rear electric motor, this vehicle now makes 509 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. That's available all the time. When you guys go into its launch control function, this vehicle will ramp up the power to 590 horsepower. So again, almost 600 horsepower in literally one notch above the base version of the Taycan. This essentially has the same power figures as last year's GTS trim, which is no longer available. I suspect Porsche will bring that back at a later date. And what's unique about the Taycan is it all goes out through a 2-speed reduction gear transmission, or 2-speed automatic. That's on the rear motor. There's also a separate single-speed transmission for the front motor, obviously. But that 2-speed transmission is what makes this vehicle unique. It improves efficiency. It improves high-speed acceleration as well. That's one of the unique factors about this platform. And the battery pack, Porsche says they've also upgraded it. Now, this model that I'm showing you for $5,500 extra has the Performance Plus battery. So that takes the battery capacity up to 105 kilowatt hours. About 97 kilowatt hours is the usable capacity. The base battery pack is now essentially the same size as last year's Performance Upgraded battery pack. So Porsche doesn't have any official range figures for the US right now, but they said this is about 34% more efficient than last year's model. So if you take the range of last year's 4S, which was around 233 miles, times that by about 30%, and it should have a little over 300 miles of range on the US figures, which again should make it very competitive for most of its rivals. The company says this model should get to 60 in around 3.5 seconds. It has a top speed of around 155 miles an hour with the summer tires. Those figures, again, are pretty identical to the Taycan GTS of the previous model year, so that's very impressive. Curb weight of this model is right around 4,900 pounds. And again, this is an electric vehicle, so it has those heavy battery packs. But the one thing about the Taycan that I've always loved is it doesn't feel as heavy as its weight suggests when you're actually driving the vehicle. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about the exterior styling, and I'll talk about the charging when we get to the charge port door. Now, first of all, you can see this vehicle, to me, has always been one of the most attractive looking electric vehicles on the market. What I love about the Taycan is it doesn't scream that it's electric. It essentially just looks like a 911 sports sedan, and that's kind of the beauty around the success of the Taycan. My particular test car is painted in this ice gray metallic exterior. It certainly looks good with the updated styling. You can see all Taycans get updated headlights, with this model here having the upgraded matrix LED headlights with the 4-point LEDs. They're also swiveling and adaptive. The 4 points also can extend into the actual projectors, where you have LED low and high beams. No LED fog lights, but you do have that LED daytime running light and turn signal, obviously. It also has the blue tint, which I'll come over to this side where you can actually see there's a slight blue tint to the actual headlight. That's typically an upgraded charge, about $1,000 to $2,000, depending on if you want it blacked out as well. The front fascia also gets some changes. You can see there's a functional air opening there. The turbo models will have a slightly different look to it, which I'll post a separate video on the turbo so you guys can see the difference in the front fascia. There's some active grille shutters down here. There's the sensors for the Porsche Innovation Drive feature, where it has a full speed radar cruise control, hands-off driving for a little bit on certain highways and roads that it's mapped out. But overall, you can see the styling was pretty subtle. The changes are pretty subtle, but it didn't really need big styling changes because this is already, to me, an attractive looking vehicle. Now, moving around the side profile, remember this is built off of a dedicated EV architecture, and this model that I'm showing you is the sedan. Porsche still offers it as a Cross Turismo, which I'll show you guys in a separate video again. To show you what the difference is. But in terms of the wheelbase, you have a 114.2 inch long wheelbase. It's got a 195.4 inch overall length. So those numbers haven't changed. The Cross Turismo is going to be about a half an inch longer in the overall length. This vehicle is about 7 inches longer than the new Macan EV, which technically also shares a similar architecture as well. You can see my tester has the RS Spider design wheels, which are painted in satin black. These wheels are like $5 extra, plus another $1,500 extra to paint them in satin black. The 4S models are distinguished by the red painted Porsche brake caliper, of course, with the larger vented brakes. I also love the way these RS Spider design wheels look. It's riding on a 265 by 35 ZR21 at the front, even fatter tires at the rear, of course. And then what's cool about the Taycan is you actually have 2 charge port doors. So on this side here, you'll find the charge port door for the DC fast charger. On the other side, you'll find it is with the combination port. Eventually, this car will offer the NAX plug, but let me go ahead and show you guys what the charge port door looks. So to open it, you have to actually open it from in here. You can see once I do that, that electric door will open up completely, and you can see this one has the European plug because I'm driving a European spec model. I'll talk about the suspension going up and down in just a second. So you can see there's a there's a combo plug there. This vehicle also will now charge significantly faster. That's one of the big upgrades this year with that new battery pack. So Taycans will now charge at up to 320 kilowatts of max DC fast charging. So that's when you guys go for the Performance Plus battery pack. The standard battery will top out at around 270, which was last year's time. This vehicle has an 11 kilowatt onboard charger. And again, I'm gonna estimate this car will have around 300 to 310 miles of range. We'll have to wait until the EPA comes out with its final figure sometime later this year. But the beauty about this accepting 320 kilowatts is you can now go from 10 to 80% in about 18 minutes. So that's an improvement of about 4.5 minutes compared to last year's model, and it'll take around 12 hours to charge on a level 2 at your home on a 48 amp. So again, that door is motorized, which you have to open up from the inside. Love that feature. It's also on the other side, but the other side's only just the single plug as opposed to the combo plug. Now, I also want to talk about briefly the car going up and down. So first of all, my tester has the active ride control. So what that means is as soon as I open the door, I want you to check out the suspension. It automatically raises up 2 inches to basically allow you easier access into the vehicle. And once you close the door, after a couple of seconds, the suspension will lower itself back down. That is a $7,000 upcharge. That suspension, again, is new. It's really innovative in the fact that when you're driving the vehicle on the road, it actually will eliminate any kind of body lean, which is a really great feature to have because, again, heavy EV, big battery pack, and it really just changes the whole design and the feel of the car. That's what Porsche tells us. Now you can see the roof panel. You can see my test car has the panoramic glass roof. This also has the translucent roof where it allows you to basically frost and defrost the roof, and you can also put it in a different pattern. That's like an extra charge of around $5,000. The panel roof by itself doesn't open up to vent air. That's around $1,500 on its own if you guys don't want the translucent panel. You can see moving around the rear profile of the vehicle, you can see it almost, again, reminds me of an electric 911 in its design. And that's particularly why I think the Taycan does extremely well for Porsche. You can see it's got some upgraded taillights back here where the Porsche script is also now illuminated. That's new for 2025. You have full LED taillights where it's an LED daytime running or LED turn signal, LED brake lights. There's a 4S badge here to let everybody know that you have the trim that I think most people are going to go for down here on the rear bumper area. You can see obviously no exhaust tips. This is fully electric, but it just has a clean, modern, but sophisticated design, very Porsche, very timeless. And I think that's why the Taycan does extremely well. Now, in terms of the cargo area, this one is this conventional sedan body style as opposed to the Cross Turismo. And you obviously have a power opening and closing trunk area. And you can see when it's opened up, Porsche says you get around 14.3 cubic feet of space. Obviously combine that with the 2.9 and you have a very good amount of cargo space. There's a little bit of side storage here. The seats, they actually do fold down. It looks like in a 60/40 manner, which is nice. And then underneath here, you can see there's a little bit of underfloor storage for the mobile charger. There's no spare tire in this vehicle. I believe it just comes with run flats or fix-a-flat kit. But overall, it's definitely still practical, but be sure to check out my review on the Cross Turismo if you guys need more space. So on the outside, the Taycan was already a beautiful vehicle, so it really didn't need that big of styling changes. But let's go ahead and hop inside the interior of this particular model that I'm showing you. Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the key fob. You can see this is the Porsche Smart Key Access System, which is one of my favorite looking keys in the industry. I love how it looks like a car. It has a nice high quality feel to it. It's not too big, it's not too small. It has your usual buttons here for unlock, lock. You can also open up the trunk and the lift gate from back here. You can't open up the charge port doors, but again, that would clutter it up with buttons. But again, this is just a very, very nice key fob. As you approach the vehicle, you can see the Taycan has these door handles that are kind of flush. Now, when you, or if I was far enough, as I approached it, the door handles would pop open, but because I'm not, it didn't actually do that. But you can see if I hit the unlock button, that's what they'll do. They'll pop open or retract or extend. That allows me to actually grab the door handle. The mirrors will also can be set up to fold in. So if I lock the door here, if I touch that, you can see that'll produce a little chirp. And then right now the mirrors are not set up to fold in automatically. But once you open up the door, you can see my test car has a great color combination. You guys also saw the vehicle suspension lifted up 2 inches very quickly. This particular interior that I'm showing you is the two-tone Bordeaux red with the black. This is a $4,700 upcharge with the real leather. These are the 14-way comfort seats, which are heated and ventilated. That's part of the premium package. And then my test car for $1,000 extra also has a massage function. So really great luxury features that you expect, but again, it's all part of an expensive $7,000 premium package, and then plus another $1,000 for the massaging seats. You can see the two-tone look of the seats have been updated, where Porsche has now kind of changed the color accents, where you have the red on the inserts, the black on the outside, the contrasting stitching. You can also go to an 18-way seat, but if you go for the 18-way seat, you can't get the massaging function. It's only on the 14-way power seats. Now you can see with that $5,000 upcharge for the leather, you can also see the leather extends onto the door panel, which is nice. You have real leather along this upper portion, real leather here, leather down here where you'd rest your elbows. There's the optional aluminum trim that you get with this car. You can also get carbon fiber and wood. My test car also has the Bose premium sound system that's included. For $5,000 more, you can also upgrade to the even nicer Burmester audio system, which I haven't actually had a chance to hear. You can see the door handle is kind of a traditional feeling door handle here with this like meaty pull. You have satisfying clicks that you get from the window controls. It's auto up down. You can see more controls for your mirror controls. You have 3-person memory seats on the driver and on the passenger side. And overall, it just makes a great first impression. This is also part of an upgrade for like $2,000 extra for the illuminated side sills, along with the aluminum accented pedals. Everything's always more expensive on a Porsche. That's kind of the Porsche way. But once I get inside this interior, you can see this car, when it raises itself up 2 inches, you have a little over 5 inches of ground clearance, I believe. And then it'll drop back down to just under 5 inches. So it really just kind of helps you with getting in and out of the vehicle, but it still has a pretty low step-in height. As I shut the door, this car with the premium package means that it has a soft close feature that's part of the premium package. Or if you want to shut the door, manually, you can hear it has a nice, satisfying, solid sounding thunk. Now, once I get in here, you can feel the vehicle is lowering down, and then all the electronics pretty much already turned on, but there is a start-stop button here, which you put your foot on the brake. That's what turns the vehicle on, although it's already on because I'm sitting in the car. And then there was no chime, but you can see the interior pretty much looks the same as last year's model, but there are a couple of changes here that's mostly in the software. I mean, the Taycan's always had a really premium interior, and it's kind of centered around the big wall of screens, but at the same time, it looks well integrated and it doesn't look overwhelming like on some EVs. Now, first of all, with the leather on the door panels, it extends onto the dash where there's complete leather stitching and real leather covering the entire portion of the dash. It even curves around the instrument panel display. You can see this is the main screen that the driver is going to be looking at. It measures 16.8 inches across. It's a curved OLED display. It looks fantastic. You can also kind of customize this if you guys want to change a couple of things here. You can adjust basically everything that's inside the screen by kind of cycling through this little menu here. You can also push this. It'll highlight another portion of the screen. The graphics here have been improved. Porsche also says they added a range calculator function where if you're going to go plug this vehicle in, it'll actually tell you how many kilowatts it'll be able to accept. It'll precondition the battery, obviously, and it'll give you all that information that you need to go to a fast charger to kind of make a better decision on how long you want to stay there. You can see there are some touch-sensitive buttons here that allows you to adjust the headlight controls and the rear fog lights, obviously. I love how it has a satisfying click sound to kind of let you know that it's been acknowledged. You can also adjust the suspension here. There's like a favorites button here. You can also adjust the air suspension, the stability control off system. And then the steering wheel, as you can see, it's the GT specific sport steering wheel. It also has a heated function where the heated button is located behind there. The steering wheel also has a power tilt telescoping, which Porsche does it down here in the center. That's part of the premium package. You can also pull and push it, and you can make it go further in or further out. And it definitely is easy to get a nice, comfortable driving position. If you guys are looking at the Turbo GT with the Weissach package, you also have paddles on the wheel. You can see this model obviously doesn't have it. You have your nice, high-quality feeling turn signal stalks. You have the Porsche Innovation Drive, their adaptive cruise control, which is controlled via here. Your drive mode selector is here. You can see there's 4 different modes, from a Sport Plus, a Sport, Normal, and then a Range mode. And then if you push this is called Push to Pass. That basically allows you to get 10 seconds of overboost. So that's where it'll produce that 590 horsepower. And if you guys do the launch control, it'll increase the power as well by about almost 80 horsepower. So that's a pretty significant jump. Over here in the rest of the center stack, you can see there's a 10.9-inch display here. And then there's also an optional 10.9-inch display on the passenger side. Now, you guys probably noticed from this angle, you can't see the passenger screen until I move over to the side here. That passenger screen is an extra $1,500. It now has a filter that doesn't allow the driver to see it from when you're sitting over here. So that basically allowed Porsche to finally add video streaming onto this, and it actually will stream videos and play videos even when you're driving for, again, only the passenger's eyes. That's a new feature this year. You couldn't do that in the previous generation, so that makes that screen a lot more useful. You can see this vehicle does include Apple CarPlay that's wireless. My phone was connected to it, but for some reason right now, of course, as I'm trying to film this car, it's refusing to connect to my phone. I may just have to do a hard reset on my phone or something like that, but it basically will take up the entire screen. It also has embedded GPS, which, as you can see, Porsche uses a variation of Google Earth, which is pretty similar to what you'll find on your computer. And you can also find this on a lot of modern Audis. The interface behind here is unique to Porsche, but again, it is quick and snappy, and it's pretty easy to use. I also love how with the touchscreen, there's interchangeable ambient lighting in this vehicle. You can also go to the car icon here. You can also adjust all your different settings over here. You can go to turning on and off the electric sports sound. You can go to your driver assistance features here, and you can also go to a comfort feature here, where it'll allow you to adjust the Porsche active ride height. You can see in when you're in normal mode, it allows you to basically turn on and off an active tilt control that keeps the suspension totally flat when you're driving. And you can also go into an active pitch control that's only available in normal. And you can also uncheck the comfort ride height entry. So that raises and lowers the car by 2 inches. You can turn that on or off, depending on what you'd prefer, obviously. But overall, this system got new graphics for 2023. It's kind of carried over into 2025, and it's one of the best systems in the business. There's also another separate helper screen here that's also a touch screen that adjusts your climate. So you can see your heated and cooled seat functions are here. Porsche, like all the other German brands, allow you to basically turn the heat and the cooled seat on at the same time. The one thing that I was surprised to see, however, is if you want to adjust the airflow vents, you can see they are not they're motorized. They actually look like real vents to me, but you can see you adjust them by going into the screen. That's very Tesla-like. You can also adjust the airflow here. You can also check the air quality. There's also a built-in ionizer. You kind of expect that in a vehicle that has this high of a price tag. My test car also has the optional quad zone climate. That's an extra $1,500. So that gives each rear passenger their own separate climate. The massage seat function is accessed via a button here on the actual side. You can see there are 5 different types of massage. I love the Shih Tzu, and then you can also adjust the intensity of the massage. Maximum is what I prefer. Again, it's one of the better massages that I felt in the industry. That's an extra $1,000, so highly recommend that if you guys like to, have that luxury car feature. You can also open and close the trunk from here, and the rear cargo area along with the charge port door. It's all connected there. There's a battery percentage indicator here, where it allows you to kind of pre-cool and preheat. It shows you how much range you're gonna have. You can see that's in kilometers. I'm driving a European spec car. And you can see the center console here has some nice aluminum trim. I love the leather that kind of carries over here. Big cup holders, which is nice. And then open this up, you can see there's a wireless phone charging pad in here. Porsche says the wireless charger is 3 times faster versus last year. So it now can provide up to 15 watts of power. So that's gonna charge your phones up much quicker. I also love the padded area, or the felt line area inside the center console. It has that Porsche script here. That's extra. It's an extra $600. You can also get Porsche stamped on the actual seat headrests themselves. You can see the glove compartment, open that up. It goes deep into the dash. It's damped. It's lined with felt. It offers a decent amount of storage, and there's additional storage basically underneath here as well, which is a nice place to hide a couple of items. But overall, the interior definitely still feels very nice. My tester also has the race text that you get that's extra. And then I forgot to mention, check out that roof, guys. So you can adjust the roof panel by this little button over here. You can see I have it on this bold theme right here, but let's just go to clear. You can see it literally will change instantly. You can make it matte. You can also make it a semi, and you can also make it bold, where it inversely changes the texture of that. So really cool feature. That's $5 grand extra if you want it. The panel roof by itself is $1,500, but to get this portion here where it allows you to frost and defrost it, that's going to cost you a pretty penny. But again, it's a really cool party trick. I just wish that this opened up to vent air. But overall, the interior still has a wonderful high quality feel, a wonderful tech as well that feels modern, but it also doesn't feel tacked on. And it doesn't feel cheap. Really, Porsche just does great interiors, and the Taycan is certainly no exception. Moving to the back seat of this 2025 Taycan 4S. Now, obviously, the rear seat area isn't where you're going to find the most space. It is obviously nice that it's here, but Porsche doesn't even disclose a rear legroom figure. I've been looking for that for years. I still can't seem to find that number, but you can see the back seat area. You can get it with either this 2+2 seating, or for an extra $500, you can also add a middle seat there where it'll include a shoulder belt, obviously, that's needed. But you can see the two-tone look with, by the way, these red seat belts, which are an extra $600. It carries over into the back. In terms of the rear door panel, you can see it has the same beautiful leather going across with the aluminum trim, leather everywhere. As you can see, the Bose speaker system, there's a little bit of storage there. You have more of those illuminated side sills as you get in. And then once you're actually back here, you can see because of that sloping roof, you do have to duck your head pretty well to kind of clear it so you don't slam your head against the ceiling. And then as I close the door here, there's a soft close feature as well, but it has a nice solid sounding thunk. Now you're probably gonna notice my test car also has leather on the actual back, seat back of the seats here. That's an extra $1,800. I probably would just skip it because it's a detail that only really the rear passengers are gonna notice. You can see once you're back here, the legroom I'd probably say is around 34 inches perhaps. This is where I'd have the seat to drive. I can get back here, I can cross my legs, but again, if you're looking for more rear seat legroom space, you're gonna be looking at a Lucid Air or a Tesla Model S, although those vehicles don't drive as sporty as this Taycan is. You can see you do have rear seat air vents back here, and you also have your quad zone climate control. You have heated rear seats, but no cooled rear seats. You can also go into the climate menu here, and you see you adjust the air vents by using this little touchpad here that allows you, or this climate control screen that allows you to kind of adjust that and adjust the airflow. So that all looks very nice. Surprised to see that I don't see any additional USB charging ports back here, which I was actually kind of shocked to see. But if I fold this down here, you can see there's a nice armrest with 2 cup holders. There's also a little bit of storage here. I probably would just add the middle seat there just to give you that option for it. In terms of the headroom space, you can see as I sit back, my head definitely comes close to the ceiling, but it's nice to have this glass roof. So if you're over 6 feet tall, the backseat area is definitely going to feel a little bit tight. But again, if you guys are checking this out and comparing it to a 911, obviously the 911 has a back seat on some models, but the Taycan's just going to have a much more usable rear seat area that you can actually fit average size adults in. So after finally getting a chance to take a look at the revised 2025 Taycan in person here in Spain, I have to say the Taycan was already one of my favorite, actually it was my favorite electric sports sedan on the market when it first debuted. And after seeing the changes that Porsche has made, the company has only decided to perfect it and make it even better. Obviously the styling changes are very subtle. The car was already good looking, so Porsche didn't really need to make that many changes on its own. I personally would still go for the Cross Turismo, and hopefully they'll bring back the Sport Turismo in a GTS form at sometime in the next a couple of years. The interior, as you guys saw, was already a really nice place to spend time. Wonderful materials, great in terms of the tech interfaces, but as you guys saw, with the full passenger display and just the big wall of screens, it feels high-tech and it feels futuristic and modern, but it also doesn't feel overwhelming, or it also doesn't feel really tacked on the way that most of these EVs do, where they just have a single 15-inch display. I love the way Porsche has done that. I love the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto configurability and functionality that you also get. While the backseat is a little bit on the small side, it is, again, remember, basically an electric sports car with an extra set of doors, so it is a lot more practical versus a 911 if you guys are going to be cross-shopping the two. And really what Porsche offers here is, again, better performance, so basically GTS levels of performance, but now it's on the S, so it's a little bit more attainable. The range of this car is going to be interesting because I'm hoping that I can get one for a full week to test back home, where we can actually do some range testing once the EPA, of course, has some final range figures, which we should be getting as we get closer to the on-sale date. And by the way, if you guys are also looking to see driving impressions on this vehicle, stay tuned to come back on April 3rd at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be uploading a full review with driving impressions of this vehicle, and we'll be able to see if it comes close to the 0 to 60 times that Porsche has promised. But again, I am out here in Spain, where I don't always have the same kind of road conditions that I'm used to. But I also will be driving the Taycan Turbo S and the Taycan Turbo GT, so stay tuned for those videos as well. If you guys are interested in getting your hands on a Taycan, a 2025 Taycan in the US, this vehicle will be starting production soon, and Porsche says that you can expect them to show up at your local dealership basically this summer. You can go ahead and go to your local dealership now and order a 2025 Taycan, but you're gonna have to wait a few more months to actually get your hands and take delivery. But pricing of the new model is obviously going to be up significantly thanks to the upgraded rear electric motor, the bigger battery packs, the improved tech, additional power. Porsche pricing for the base Taycan is now $99,400. That's for a base version with rear-wheel drive. If you guys want a 4S version, most of you are going to probably go to the 4S. Porsche also offers a Taycan 4 non-S if you guys go for a Cross Turismo for around $111,000. This model here is going to start at around $118,500. So basically around almost 20 grand more versus the base version. Now that sounds like a lot of money, but remember, it's Porsche. They charge you an arm and a leg for everything. They nickel and dime you for everything. My test car here that I'm showing you has a whopping $55,000 in options. That's right, 55 grand from the premium package, which is $7,000. The wheels are $5,000 extra. There's so many options that I probably can't remember them all off the top of my head. But again, this model here that I'm showing you comes to a grand total of $175,690. I know that is a ton of money. I mean, for the price of this vehicle, you could get a Tesla Model S Plaid plus a Model 3 Performance. But again, this is a Porsche Taycan. If you guys watch my reviews of the older models, these vehicles feel and drive more like electric sports cars. They don't have that heavy, numb feel that you get with most EVs. So I'm expecting this model, again, once I get behind the wheel, to feel exactly like that. And that's one of the reasons why the Porsche Taycan continues to do well sales-wise here in the US. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full tour overview of this 2025 Porsche Taycan 4S. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.